Retirement. Nobody tells you that the hardest part of retirement isn't about the money. Nobody tells you that you can wake up one morning, there's no alarm, there's no commute, there's no reason to be anywhere, and you suddenly feel lost. Now, whether you loved every minute of your working life or you couldn't wait to leave it behind you, that lost feeling can find you either way. And I think I've worked out why. It's because the real fear isn't losing the job. The real fear is actually wondering, who am I now? Hello, my lovelies. I'm Rosemary, and welcome to your next season. This is my very first video for this channel, and I want to start with the question nobody prepared me for. When the routine, the people, your colleagues, the structure, the reason to get up and go, when all of that suddenly changes, who are you now? I spent my career in IT and banking, finishing up at exec level, and I genuinely loved my job. I loved the challenge, the pressure, the feeling of a Monday morning when something was going on or a project milestone was going to happen. I loved it. In fact, I introduced myself to the man who became my husband as, "Hi, I'm Rosemary, head of IT for a bank." That's how much my work was part of my identity. Now, not everyone's experiences retirement in the same way. Some people miss the work itself, others miss the people, the routine, the conversations, the feeling of belonging, the faces at the door every morning, the cups of tea, the bit to crack at the photocopier, having somewhere to be, feeling useful, feeling known, and it doesn't really matter which group you belong to, because both can leave you standing in exactly the same place with an empty diary, the phone is quiet, and you're asking yourself, who exactly am I now? And I think many of us are too quick to try and answer that question. I certainly was. We look for the silver lining, start the next chapter. Do not get me wrong, retirement is fantastic, but sometimes it takes us a while to get there. Now, I understand the impulse because I did exactly that thing. I rushed out to try and fix that feeling on who am I now, because whether you're grieving a career you loved or a community that mattered more to you than you realized, the loss is real. You built something, you contributed, you mattered, you belonged somewhere, and now that part of life has changed. That's not being dramatic. That's, I suppose, being human, really. The insight that helped me most was this. The identity fear isn't really about a job title, it's about belonging. Work gives us a tribe, colleagues, purpose, a reason to show up, a place where we're known and needed. It gives shape to our weeks and meaning to our days. And when that disappears, the question underneath isn't, what do I call myself now? It's, where do I fit now? And perhaps even, what matters now? Maybe your version of retirement is a little bit of loneliness. Maybe it's the loss of routine. Maybe it's a strange guilt of not being busy. Whatever shape it takes, it deserves to be looked at honestly. After I retired, I spent more time out here in the garden, not as a project, not as a plan, simply because it was here, it was quiet, nothing was expected of me, and I could potter. And in the middle of all that pottering, I noticed something. I was making decisions again, small ones, what to plant, what to move, what needed some more light or attention. And I was curious again. I was patient in a way I hadn't been for years. And without realizing it, I was completely myself. The garden didn't care what I used to do for a living. It just needed someone to turn up and pay attention. Now, that wasn't a revelation, but it more got me remembering that the job was never really me. It really was like the trellis, the structure, useful, necessary, worth having, but the plant doing the growing, that was always me. a question I wish somebody had asked me when I retired. If nobody expected anything from you tomorrow, how would you spend your day? Not the rest of your life, just tomorrow. Write down whatever comes to mind. Don't edit it. Don't judge it. Just notice what. Because what shows up isn't a plan, it's a clue. And clues are often how new seasons begin. I've written more about this in a free guide called Who Am I Now? It's short, practical, and written for anyone who's trying to understand who they are beyond the title they've carried for years. You'll find the link in the description. And before you go, I'd love to hear from you. What do you miss most about work? The job itself, the routine, the people, or something else entirely? Tell me in the comments. My husband has just come home from golf. He's walking into the house at the moment and he's very curious as to what I'm up to. We'll be talking honestly about retirement, identity, purpose, and what this next season of life could become. Until next time, my lovelies, take care. I'll be on every week. Bye.